know the vibes. This is S.Beezy, bad as B. bad as Buzz and B. This is S.Beezy. You guys are tapped in with the Mankind podcast. You already know. I'm a bad liar, so it's hard for me to like hide behind anything. What people might not know about me, I like, aside from being like a rapper and producer, I'm like a mother. So I have a lot of that going on in my life currently. You know, I'm out here doing it. I'm doing my best. The name S.Beezy came from like a childhood nickname. In middle school, I started going by S.B. And then I kind of started making beats. So I was like, you know, beats, Beezy, S.Beezy. So it kind of just happened, just blossomed. My style, I feel like I have a very melodic style. If it were up to me, I would sing 100% of the time, but I just am not a singer. But a lot of my influences go back to like, you know, Lauryn Hill, Fugees. The Dream was a huge influence when he came out with like Ella, like that was always like my shit. Anything that's got a nice melody, nice hook, anything like catchy is kind of my style. Exactly, you already know. Yeah, dripping so hard I'll probably catch a wave. Hey, I'm glad you watched that. I'm glad people are still rocking with that. Shout out to the Tucson Hip Hop Festival. I feel like I always level up, so I listen to my old raps and I'm just like, what was I rapping about? I feel like I've always had like a natural passion for music. I like can't even help it. From like growing up in like church and singing to like playing keyboard, I taught myself. I'm like a very visual learner, so I'll see it and be like, I can do that. I want to do that. And I'll just kind of go for it. But a lot of my influences have been like earlier kind of R&B influences. I've been doing this probably for like 10 years. Started with just beats, like basic shitty beats and recording. Honestly, my dad and my cousins. And I just shout out SURE, my pops. Major influence of mine, definitely keeps me going because God forbid I want to take a break. He's like, get back to work. So, yeah, it definitely keeps me going there. What came first, the rapper or producer? I'm going to say the producer definitely came first. I started with beats. I wasn't confident in my raps. I would write these corny little raps and show my cousins. They'd be like, oh, that's cute. You know, so it got to a point. I did start in production and I would write, but then I'd be like, oh no, this is stupid, this sucks, and I would just kind of like for years never been about it, and then I would kind of like ghostwrite in a sense. Like I'd come up with the hooks and then I see like all the buzz, like this was everybody's favorite song, and I'm like, well fuck, I wrote the hook. So it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this, like I'm just gonna go for it. I mean, it took me a while to build confidence to use my voice. I was always pretty confident in my instrumentals just because of the feedback I would get. But for me, it really took me like hearing people and even like just like famous rappers like just putting shit out that I'm like, okay, if this guy can go out there and sound like this, if fucking what's his name, ODB, Old Dirty Bastard, is out there rapping and people are listening to his shit, yeah, then, you know, what's to stop me? So I really did get to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. I have a lot of influences, you know, like dating back to like 90s and 2000s that I really was like, I want to sound like them. Like I mentioned, Lauryn Hill was definitely like my very first, like, because that bitch can sing, rap, she had the whole package. Exactly. And then going further into, like I said, also The Dream, producer, singer. You can tell any artist he had on his track, he probably wrote their verse too. I mean, dude's just versatile and melodic. And I remember like listening to that and just wanting to sound like that and do it like that. Honestly, think as a female producer, I almost had a leg in the game just because it's new and it's like, oh, here's this girl making beats and my beats are decent, you know? So it's not like, I mean, my beats are pretty tight, you know? So for me as a female, that was cool. But at the same time, it's really cutthroat because you have to be the best of the best. You can't just be mediocre at this shit. And so, I had to put a lot of energy to keep up with the guys in the game, truthfully. Relating and being able to write how I'm feeling or how I want to feel. I mean, not everything is how do I want to put this? Sometimes I'll talk about some shit just because I want to like talk some shit. You know what I mean? Because it's nice to like fucking get that out. And I found it to be exactly expressing yourself. It feels good to like get some shit out, even if you're not 500% about what you're talking about, but still, it's a good way to like relieve the stress is to just put it out. And I'd be losing sleep, I swear, like the day before the show, just thinking about, I'll have like nightmares that I fucking like missed the show or something. I swear I'd be having like nightmares. But honestly, it like I do a lot of like prayer and meditation and prepare for it and just go out there and do my thing. All I can do is practice and prepare and just go out there. You don't want to exalt too much energy, So yeah, I try to stay ready because when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. That's what they say. When I'm on stage, I try not to have too many distractions. It's nerve-wracking getting up there, and you really do have to scope the vibes. You see this little crowd, and you're like, "Fuck, what am I gonna do?" But you really have to have that personality. With the artistry comes like it's so much more than having cool lyrics or cool beats. I mean, people want to see a show. You got to show that personality up there, and that's what I try to do is just be myself. I don't try too hard, or you know what I'm saying? I just try to be myself, and shit, if people like it, they like it. If not, they leave. I mean, that's really all I can do. I don't know. Deciding what to play for a show can be a challenge. It depends. I mean, a lot of factors, like who's there, what kind of show you're doing, the venue itself. Obviously for something like a hip hop festival, you're going to bring your heaviest hitting stuff. You're doing if you're doing like a smaller little personal gig, you want to find something that you think you can connect with 6 people about. So you really have to consider location, the crowd, but ultimately I try to just kind of stick with like what's relevant, what's the event about. My favorite thing to do, I really like when I have an opportunity to showcase my beats and some of my verses. I don't always get opportunities to do that. Usually when I'm invited to do something, it's either like get on here and do a producer thing or get on here and do a rapper thing. So it's cool when I get the chance to like really just do my little thing. Some of my favorite venues in town, probably Thunder Canyon, obviously, like the people, the vibes. It's got good sound and a really like eclectic group of people, because people just like come in to Thunder Canyon just because it's already cool to just come in here. But yeah, you get really good support. And then I also really like 191. It's like a nice, like the sound, it's really nice in there, man. The Tucson hip hop scene for me is really like communal. I mean there's haters out there, but I haven't gotten to a point where I'm like, fuck this, I'm moving to Cali because this is stupid type shit. I mean, it's a lot of love. I mean, with the love, you're going to get the hate. But compared to other cities in Arizona, I would say the Tucson hip hop the Tucson hip hop scene festival also is going to show you a lot more love than some other places. Shout out to Pike. My music has been consistent. My production, I'm proud of. This is probably the most I have produced and used beats. I would say so, yes. I feel like as a producer, oftentimes people want quantity. People want to hear, they don't give a shit. And as a producer, one of the biggest downfalls is overproduction. You'll sit on something and just think, and it'll just sit in your fucking archives. You got to get to a point where you just throw it out there because somebody is gonna fuck with it. What do I do for fun? Shit. I make music. It's fun. I make beats. I sit around. I smoke weed and make music. Who have I fucked with? This past year, I've had the opportunity to fuck with a lot of local talent. I think in the future, I would like to get to a point where I'm fucking with some out-of-state artists. I'm just speaking it into existence. I don't really have anybody in particular, but you get to a point where you have to expand and get it out there, try new things. I've had the pleasure of working with my homie Trauma. We make this dynamite team. I can't believe we've only known each other for like a year because it seems like a lifetime, and we're just on the same page. It's nice to work with like-minded artists. My pops, obviously, we've been pumping out music. Tommy, Nathan Villains. It keeps going. I've been working with a lot of people. I just want to keep that momentum and just build. Shout out to the whole team, Our Turn, ENT, everybody in the circle that's been supporting from day one. Shout out to Trauma, Big Mama Trauma, for like checking in on me as a person and just keeping me where I need to be, my man, my support system at home, all of my coworkers, my friend and boss, Adriana. Shout out to the entire Green Med staff and Purple Med. Let's go. If you need some bomb shit, you already know where to get the meds. Shout out to Thunder Canyon Brewery. Nothing but support for my boy Runt. Halsero for putting it down for the producers. Shout out to Mankind for keeping this fucking underground hip-hop shit rolling. Really everybody that's listening, if you've made it this far in this interview, fucking shout out to you. Pew, 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 pew.